Welcome back to Pharmacy Tech Unfiltered Career Pivot mini-series. If you've been wondering what else is out there beyond retail or hospital work, you are not alone, and this series is here to show you the possibilities. Ever see a job and think, that sounds amazing, but I'm probably not qualified? Same. That voice in your head that whispers, you are just a tech, or you don't have enough experience. We are calling it out today because that voice is a liar, and it's time we stop letting it lead. I'm Elena Rutka, host of Pharmacy Tech Unfiltered, and the voice behind this platform built to uplift, inform, and empower pharmacy technicians. This episode is a pep talk, a reality check, and a little bit of tough love in the best way. If you've ever been sitting on a dream job or a career move because you feel underqualified, this one is for you. Let's unpack the fear, reframe your experience, and remind you just how capable you really are. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to subscribe, follow, or share it with another tech who needs to hear this today. Let's be real. The just a tech label didn't come from nowhere. We feel it in the way people talk to us at the counter, the way managers throw more responsibilities on us without ever saying thank you, and the way pharmacists sometimes take credit for work we've done behind the scenes. I once had a tech tell me, I train the new pharmacist every year, but I still get called just a tech. And let's not forget how fast-paced and perfectionist this field can be. You could prep 200 prescriptions perfectly, and if one label is misaligned, that's what gets noticed. Burnout doesn't help either. You're so deep in the day-to-day mess that you forget how much you actually do. You don't feel skilled anymore. You feel surviving. A listener once messaged me, how do I talk about my strengths when I'm barely holding on? Here is what I told her, and what I want you to hear too. Burnout doesn't erase your skills. It's just covering them up. You've been showing up on empty. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you incredible. Okay, let's shift gears. When I first started looking into biopharma jobs, I thought I had no shot. My resume screamed hospital tech, not corporate professional. But here's the truth. Employers aren't just looking at your titles. They are looking at what you can do. They want people who solve problems. People who work well under pressure. People who can juggle 5 things without dropping the ball. And guess who does that every shift? You. Take sterile compounding. If you can follow SOPs, maintain aseptic technique, and catch labeling errors in a 10-hour hood shift, congrats! You're already practicing quality assurance. Or maybe you are the go-to for prior authorizations. That means you've got insurance navigation skills, communication finesse, and attention to detail. All things pharma companies need. I didn't land my first QA job because I had a fancy background. I got it because I explained how I built better workflows, trained others, and spotted small mistakes before they became big problems. That's impact. And that's what gets you hired. Let's talk language. Next time you're writing a cover letter or talking in an interview and you're tempted to say, I haven't worked in that role before. Try this instead. I may not have this title, but I've done things in my current role that translate. Here are a few examples. While I haven't worked in biopharma, I've maintained USP 797 compliance and trained staff on sterile procedures. Or, I haven't worked in access and reimbursement yet, but I've handled complex prior authorizations and coordinated financial assistance for oncology patients. You don't need to be the finished product to be hireable. You just need to show that you can learn, adapt, and bring value. And listen, you don't need 10 certifications to move forward. Apply messy. Apply unsure. Apply with typos if you have to. Well, better not, but still, you know what I mean. Growth doesn't happen when you are 100% ready. It happens when you say yes and figure it out along the way. Let's bring this to life with some examples I've seen again and again in my DMs, in group chats, and in my own story. Like the retail tech who handled drive-through chaos, calmed down patients, trained new hires, and still heard she was replaceable. Now, she's in compliance auditing for a major PBM. She reframed all that chaos into transferable skills, managing workflows, resolving discrepancies, and keeping things smooth under pressure. Or the hospital tech, who was always the first one to jump in during a code blue, managing inventory logistics and supporting nurses under extreme pressure. She started tracking medication errors and near misses, took a certification in quality assurance, and now works as a clinical trial coordinator, using those same skills to help bring new treatments to patients. Even my own story. I thought compounding in a hood didn't count for much. But when I learned how to talk about batch records, deviations, and following strict SOPs, that got me a seat at the QA table. These aren't made up. These are techs like you who got tired of waiting for permission and decided to bet on themselves. Your pivot doesn't have to look like mine, but it starts when you stop shrinking your story. So here's the big truth. You don't need to feel ready to be ready. You just need to be curious, willing, and brave enough to try. That voice that says you are not qualified is just fear talking, and fear is loudest right before we grow. You are not just a tech. You are the nerve center, the connector, the fire extinguisher, the unsung expert. And you deserve to take up space. Let's be honest, talking about your strengths when you are running on fumes feels like a joke. Like, what strengths? I'm just trying not to cry in the break room. But that's exactly the moment when it matters most to name what you bring to the table. Here are 5 ways to do it without sounding fake or forced. 1. Use even when statements. For example, even when things are chaotic, I still check every label twice. Or, even when I'm exhausted, I keep the tone calm with angry patients. It's honest. It's powerful. It shows resilience without pretending everything's perfect. 2. Reframe repetition as mastery. For example, I've filled thousands of scripts, and I still catch the little errors others miss. Or, I know this system so well, I can troubleshoot blindfolded. Repetition isn't boring. It's muscle memory. It's mastery under pressure. 3. Highlight your efficiency and focus. For example, I'm fast, but I don't cut corners. That balance took years. Or, I can get through a 300 prescription day without falling apart. That's not just experience. That's high-level performance during burnout. 4. Name the invisible work. For example, I'm the one calming down patients or calming down coworkers after they deal with one. Or I see workflow problems before they explode. I fix them quietly. Soft skills don't show up in metrics, but they keep the whole thing from collapsing. 5. Claim your niche. I'm the go-to for compounding, prior authorizations, tech training. Or I've worked across hospital, retail, and LTC. I adapt fast. Burnout didn't erase your skills. It came because of how often you showed up. One listener told me, I don't feel confident talking about my work because it feels like I'm just surviving. I told her this: surviving is a strength. Showing up under pressure is a strength. If you've made it through hardships with your skills intact, that's not weakness. That's proof you are a professional. So if you are getting ready for an interview or updating your resume, but you feel too tired or unsure, start here. Borrow this language. Use it. Make it your own. You don't have to pretend you are thriving. You just have to show you know what you bring, even when it's hard to say it out loud. If you want help translating your experience into new roles, I got you. Check out the latest episode where I talk through 3 biopharma jobs pharmacy techs can land and how to prep for them. Before we wrap up, I want to spend just a few minutes on something that doesn't get enough attention: talking about your strengths. Not listing them, not reading off a resume, but owning them. Because if you're pivoting careers, especially as a pharmacy technician, you might be feeling like your strengths don't translate. Like, I'm great at juggling chaos, but how do I say that in a job interview without sounding like a walking stress ball? Here's the truth. Your strengths already have value. They just need a new voice. Instead of saying, I just fill scripts, say, I manage high-volume workflows while catching errors others miss. Accuracy under pressure is my baseline. Instead of, I've only worked in retail, say, I've built patient trust in one of the toughest environments. And I've done it while solving problems on the fly, day after day. See the difference? Pivoting isn't about starting over. It's about translating what you already know into the language of where you want to go. So here's your homework, if you're up for it. Pick up one thing you do really well. Something that might feel so small or normal to you, like training a new hire, or preventing a med error, or reorganizing a chaotic system no one else could fix. Then, write it down in one sentence. Not like a job duty, but like a skill you'd be proud to teach someone else. And if you don't know where to start, ask someone you trust. What's something you've seen me do really well that I don't give myself credit for? You'll be surprised what comes back. Because you are more than just a tech. This pivot isn't about becoming someone new. It's about finally letting the world see the full version of who you already are. Let's stay with this energy for a minute, because once you start naming your strengths, the next mountain you might face is the interview. And I know interviews can feel like performance theater. You are sitting there, heart pounding, trying to read their faces while wondering if you sound like you are bragging or just desperate not to go back to a toxic job. So let's shift that whole dynamic. Here's the mindset I want you to bring in. You are not begging for a chance. You are assessing the fit. This is a conversation between two professionals. You are not there to prove your worth. You are there to show them what it looks like to have someone like you on their team. And if your experience isn't a perfect match, that's okay. What matters most is how you frame what you do bring. If they ask, have you ever worked in quality assurance? You don't just say no. You say, not in a formal QA title, but in my last role, I was the go-to for catching IV label errors before they reached the pharmacist. I was basically a second layer of QA without the job title. If they ask, tell me about a time you had to solve a problem under pressure. Don't overthink it. Think back to any wild shift when the printer broke, the phone rang nonstop, a med was out late, and you still made it all work. You don't need a polished corporate story. You need a real one. Because those real moments, that's what makes you memorable. Now, let's talk energy. You don't have to be bubbly or extroverted to make a great impression. You just need to show up with calm confidence. Like, I know what I'm good at. I know what I've been through. And if I don't know something yet, I'll learn it. Let them feel that steadiness in you. And finally, I know interviews can be triggering, especially if you've been overlooked, underpaid, or micromanaged in the past. You might go in already doubting yourself, already assuming they won't see your value. So before you walk in, pause and ground yourself. Say to yourself, I've done harder things than this. They are not doing me a favor by interviewing me. I'm bringing something valuable to the table. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to be honest, prepare, and present. That mindset shift alone can change everything. Because at the end of the day, interviews aren't about having all the answers. They are about connection, clarity, and confidence in your path, even if you are still building it. So go in there like someone who already belongs in the room. Because you do. This was Elena Rutka, and you've been listening to Pharmacy Tech Unfiltered, the place where pharmacy techs get real talk, fresh perspective, and a little push to go after what they actually want. If this episode spoke to you, share it with another tech who needs to hear it. And if you are ready for more support on your career journey, you know where to find me. Until next time, keep showing up and don't let that inner critic win.